Hi everyone, thanks for joining me for another video once again. This is Peter and you're watching Thailand Bound, and if you haven't been to my channel before, I speak about all things Thailand. Right, today is a very special day. I'm in a downtown hotel. I'm in the middle of Sukhumvit. I won't name the hotel where I am at the moment, but I'm here to interview somebody very, very special, okay? Now, I tell a lot of stories. If you're a regular viewer to my channel, you know I tell stories. Every Saturday, I'll upload a bunch of stories. I don't think I've ever had anybody come on and give their real names, or they were willing to do an interview, anything like this. But the story I told about a year ago, I called the gentleman, I called the guy Liam and his wife, his now wife, Om. Now, if you're a regular viewer and you remember quite a few of these stories, you'll remember at the time that Liam was looking for a partner. He went online on various dating sites, met various women, but there was one particular woman that he was attracted to. She came across as quite a pleasant girl, and he decided to visit Thailand up there in Isan in a place called Khon Kaen. And Liam headed over there, he went to Khon Kaen, and they arranged to meet each other. Now, there was a sting in the tail because he didn't know anything. He just thought she was a normal girl. But what happened to Liam when he was sitting with her on that first meeting, she actually confessed that for the last 8 years before meeting him, she'd been working in Phuket as a freelancer, a working girl. Now, obviously, this came as a shock to Liam. He had to decide what the future was going to be. And I'm happy today that Liam has decided to tell the story in his own words about how he felt at the time. And I'm going to be asking him various questions about the relationship. And we'll see how this goes. I think you're going to find this one interesting, guys. Liam, thank you for joining me today. It's a pleasure.
Pleasure to meet you, Peter.
And whereabouts in Australia are you actually from?
Victoria.
Victoria, okay. Is it me or is it very hot in this hotel?
It's very hot in this hotel.
It's very
hot everywhere.
Very hot everywhere. Okay. You were on the dating sites in Australia. You were looking for a potential partner. Yep. And what was it about her that kind of struck a chord with you? You must have looked at a lot of ladies. What was it in particular that you liked about her?
I was contacted by quite a few, and it simply was, she sent me a picture where she had just a red t-shirt and a pair of blue shorts on, and she had a frangipani flower in her hair, sitting on a chair, showing a bit of leg, and I thought, wow, how did I miss this one? Okay. So straight away, she actually contacted me first, and then I responded. Right. And then we went from there. We started talking. I found out later that she'd actually gone through an agent where a girl can pay about 5,000 baht and someone else will help them type their emails and also find, hopefully a partner.
Yeah. So, okay, so you met this girl, you thought she was cute on the picture, and where did it go from, how did it develop from that? Because I remember you mentioning something about you thought you were writing to her, but you were actually writing to somebody else. What was that all about?
Well, that was the agent that she was working through. So what was happening was, for about the first month, I thought I was talking to her, but in fact I was talking to someone else who was writing on her behalf and pretending to be if you like. Mm-hmm. It was only sort of a month into it where she actually went to her friend's house, got on Skype, because we used Skype a lot back then. Sure. So I could actually see her and talk to her, because I didn't want to waste time. I wanted to know as quickly as I could she was real, she wasn't just a made-up person, and that she actually was the person in the picture. And then subsequently I came to Thailand pretty soon after that. I think about 2 months after I met her, I came here.
And it was Khon Kaen. It was a resort, I believe, on the outskirts of Khon Kaen.
There's a resort just near the airport, like it's within walking distance actually, and I recommend it. It's a really nice place to stay if you do stay in the north of Thailand. Mm-hmm.
So, okay, so let's get to that point then. So you decided to come over to Thailand. Mm-hmm. You went up to the resort, you checked into a nice hotel, you got a nice room. Had you met her yet before you got to the hotel, or did she meet you at the airport? Or?
There's a funny story there, because she actually met me at the airport, and about half the village came. Oh my God. There was something like 30 family members. I mean, you would have thought the king had just arrived. And I felt very shy, to be approached by that many people. So she picked me up from the airport, and we went in her father's car to the resort. She asked me at the front desk, I will never forget, she said, "Would you like me to stay with you?" Oh. And I said, no brainer, of course I would. So then her family went home and we checked into the hotel, really nice room. And I said, look, I need a shower, so bags down. I went and had a shower, came back, and she then quickly said to me, look, Liam, I need to tell you something. And looking very serious, and I thought, what can this be about? And she said, I need to tell you because I don't want you to hear it from anyone else, but I've been working as a freelancer in Phuket for the last 8 years. I was floored by that comment. It's like, what do you say? What do you do? Do you walk out of the room? Do you leave her, or you tell her to get out? I mean, but she still seemed, and I had been talking to her for a couple of months, she seemed like a lovely person. But there's a feeling in your gut where you just go, what do I do? What do I do in this situation, you know? She actually had wanted to tell me before I turned up in Thailand, but the agent she was working through advised her not to. And I think that was probably the right decision, because had she told me while I was still in Australia, I probably wouldn't have come to visit her. I would have looked for someone else. But anyway, she told me, I digested that. I mean, we've spoken quite a bit together about this. I've asked her history and how she came to be doing this. And, you know, like many girls, it was basically to support the family. They just didn't have the money. And she could be making in one day what took her all week to make in a shoe factory in Khon Kaen. But look, in the end, I said to her, look, I'm here, I've booked the room, I've got 10 days. Let's just put the past to bed and let's get on with it and see if there is something, you know, some sort of relationship that we can have. And she assured me that she wasn't going to go back to that work anymore.
How did the love develop, if that's the right way to put it?
Well, to use a word famous on this channel, there were no aerobics on that first visit. You know,
okay.
It was purely a get to know you. We did share the room, we did share the bed together, but no, there was nothing beyond that for that first trip.
But emotionally, did that stop you getting involved with I'll use the word you've just used, with the aerobics? Was it anything to do with psychological that you were thinking, well, I don't know, you know, who she's been with when she was with them, or is it just a case of you really were kind of shocked and you just wanted to kind of have time to come down as well and think about the whole situation?
Look, I was shocked. I mean, when somebody admits to you within the space of an hour and a half of me being in the country, that's the industry that I used to work in, yeah, I was pretty shocked. And it was quite an emotional moment.
Okay, so you're in a room in Khon Kaen, you've met this wonderful girl, she's told you she's a freelancer. What was it about her? At what point did you decide, do you know what, I don't care, she's a nice girl and I want to have a go at this?
Yeah. I think it was more the second or third day of being there with her. I mean, look, there's no doubt she was really lovely. I'd seen from the photos that she was lovely. She honestly did have a lovely nature, and I don't think, you know, after 2 or 3 days of knowing her, I could see that she really wasn't the sort of person that was going to spend the rest of her life in that sort of industry. She actually was a genuine sort of family girl.
Do you mind if I ask you how old she was at the time and how old you were at the time?
Yeah, she was 32. Okay. I was nearly 49, so there's about a 17-year age gap, and that's a little bit more than I wanted. I was actually looking for someone closer to my own age at the time, but I thought, no, she's lovely. So.
Destiny, as it were, yeah. So okay, so how you said you were in Thailand for about 10 days on that trip.
Yep.
And how many days had you spent with Om before you went back to Australia?
Well, I was there for 10 days, yeah, and she spent the entire time with me.
Okay, so all right, so you built up some kind of relationship. So you head back to Australia. You've got time to think now. And how were you feeling when you got back to Australia? You must have been processing all this information. How did you actually? Did you think, I'm mad? What am I doing? Or, you know, I don't care what anybody thinks. I like her. Or what was going through your mind actually, Liam?
Well, to be honest with you, I think. I know that when I got back to Australia, Om thought she was never going to hear from me again.
Okay.
She thought she told me this later, she thought, he's putting on a brave face, he's enjoyed his time, he's had his fun, he's gone, I'll never see him again. But I was on the phone to her within a couple of days of being back.
Did you find you had to give her that secure feeling again and again, keep saying to her, look, don't worry, you know, I am coming back, and because she has these doubts?
No, I think she was really happy that that I contacted her soon. She told me that she thought I'll never hear from you again.
Yeah.
And you know, look, Thai girls are lovely. It's really hard to not
I know.
not find a reason to stay with them.
I mean, what would you say to anybody, like, you know, a lot of people will watch this video, they'll leave comments, and I'm sure most people will be understanding, but you'll get the odd person who will ask you and say, look, at that time when you found out there's thousands of beautiful girls in Thailand, why didn't you just walk out the door or say, no, I'm sorry, and look for an alternative? What was it? What made you decide it doesn't matter?
Look, there are thousands of beautiful girls in Thailand, but finding a nice one that doesn't lie to you, you know, doesn't have a husband or children hidden away somewhere, you know, there's all sorts of other things that can happen. And she was single, she had no children. I met her family, she took me to her home where she lived. I had dinner with her parents. Everything seemed fine to me, you know, so I had no reason to doubt her really. But yeah, look, it did play on my mind a lot, you know. Now, hey, look, here I am with a freelancer.
Sure.
You know.
Yeah. So another question I'd like to ask you, and if I'm overstepping the mark here a little bit, let me know and we'll move on. But knowing what she'd done for a living, now we know, you know, looking at other guys, we know that, you know, from the stories that I tell on this channel, there are guys and girls, guys who have met girls in a similar situation. They've met them in bars, whatever, and they've come together and had a relationship, but the girl has been kind of still carried on working on the side. What, were you not afraid of this, or was there something that gave you confidence that she wouldn't do it? Was it just her telling you she wouldn't do it, or what gave you the confidence to not worry about that?
Well, look, I thought a lot about my own past. I mean, I'm no angel, you know. I've had periods in my life where it's been a different girl every week, and sometimes two. Except I didn't get paid for it, you know. And I try not to place too much emphasis on that. Yes, you do worry about it. How many guys has she been with? Will she go back to it? But I saw no reason for her to. She actually said to me that she's not unlike a lot of men, that Western men that go to these bars and they hope they might meet the girl of their dreams. You know, they go, I think you're looking in the wrong place if you do that. But she was hoping that she would meet a man who would stay with her. She was actively looking, you know, but she was in the wrong place because the men just don't really respect those girls in terms of wanting a long-term relationship.
So what would you say to any viewers out there who have met a girl in a similar situation? They're now in a kind of relationship online, and they're thinking about going in this direction. Would you advise them to carry on and see how it goes, or give it up?
No, I would say give it a shot. I mean, after I came back to Australia, I'd spoken to Om a couple of days later, and I was already talking to work about taking more annual leave because I wanted to go back and see her again. So I was really happy, and I did go back and see her again. The next time, I think, was 2 weeks that we stayed together. We stayed in the same resort. This time there was plenty of aerobics, which was great. She actually wanted me to go and get an AIDS test before any of the aerobics was going to happen anyway.
Very wise.
So the first trip we didn't do anything, you know. I went back to see her, and I just fell in love, basically, you know. And then I realized that second trip, I thought, no, stuff this. I'm not going to let the chance of being with a really nice girl be damaged by her past.
Yeah, and I think it's also important to remember that was the past. We're not talking about the future. That was the past. So overall, how long have you been together now?
We've been together, I thought it was 12 years, but Om told me the other day it's 11.
11 years.
About 11 and a half.
Time flies.
Years. So, you know, we've been together for quite a while. I'm 59. She's 42 now. We're really happy. We have a home in Australia together. We're buying a house together. Her name's on the paperwork, and I know a lot of people will think, you know, why would you do that? That's crazy. But having her in Australia, she has a good job now. She pays her taxes. She's got an obligation. So it's turned out really, really well for me.
And how that's great, really great. How is the visas worked out? I mean, is she okay to stay? Well, obviously you're married now, so she's got a spouse visa, I would imagine. I don't know how the Australian visa system works.
So, yeah, what happens is you get a spouse visa first. I mean, initially I brought her out on a tourist visa. That was the 3-month one, and that was the real test to see if our relationship would work.
And that obviously that went fine.
That went fine. So then she came back, and in Australia, the girl has to be in Thailand for you to apply for her to get a spouse visa. So we married. She now has permanent residency. She doesn't have citizenship. That means the Australian passport. That'll come later. But she's a permanent resident.
So how did she adjust to Australia? Because obviously, two totally different cultures. I know there is a lot of ties, as there is a lot of other nationalities in every country now. But how did she adjust from coming from a country like Thailand, which is completely different to Australia? Did she adjust quite well? Was it quite a quick process, or did you have to kind of kick her up the backside a few times?
No. Look, it went really well. She very quickly found the local Thai community, like every Thai girl will. You know, you're not going to stop that. That's going to happen. And there's going to be Thai phone calls every day, talking Thai on Facebook every day. But that's good because she very quickly had a support group locally. And most of those girls are married to Western men. So they socialise a lot together.
So is there kind of are you involved in a Thai community in Australia now? Are you part of a kind of overall group that meets up and has barbecues or temple days, stuff like that? Why don't you tell us a bit about that?
Sometimes we have barbecues together. There's a lot of Thai gets spoken, a lot of Thai food gets eaten. We do go to the temple. My wife's very religious. She's very dedicated to going to the temple as regularly as she can, and I go with her. Like I go to the temple with her in Thailand as well.
Yeah, sure. Okay, great. So is there any advice you could offer anybody, like I touched on earlier? I mean, I think even you'd agree with me, if you're coming to Thailand to look for a partner, a go-go bar or a beer bar or on the street, it's not the right place to look for a permanent partner. I think you actually both got lucky, if you don't mind me saying so, because it's not the norm, is it? You've heard the stories where guys have come here, they've met girls in bars, and you were a big fan of the stories for a long time, Liam. And they're in the same situation as you are, but it didn't go right for them because they unfortunately for them the girl went the other way. Is there any advice you could offer anybody who might be in that situation at the moment?
Well, don't assume the worst. You know, I think that's one thing. Don't assume the worst. Try and take the girl at face value. Sorry. Show her some trust, some consideration. I think that's all you can do, and just try and get to know her. And I think you'll know pretty quickly if she's on the game. You know, if she's got a couple of other boyfriends on the side. And one thing I really would suggest is when you meet somebody, don't start sending heaps of money. No. You know, and I hear of guys they're sending 10,000 baht a week to some girl they haven't known for more than a few months. It's just, you just don't do it. The first time I met I didn't send her anything until I came back and met her the second time, and even then it was only a small amount. I think I was sending maybe 1,200 baht to her a week so she could stay at her parents' home. Yeah. So it doesn't pay to spoil the girls. No. Absolutely not initially anyway. Well,
I nearly dropped dead here when you said 10,000 baht, because I know guys in Pattaya, they're paying 20, 30, and I even know one guy's paying 50,000 baht a month. He's taken a girl from a bar, and he said, I don't want you to work anymore. She's like, fair enough, but I need to support my family, and I need 50,000 baht a month, and he was quite happy to pay it. I mean, that's just crazy, isn't it?
It's insane, and you've got no way of knowing that girl isn't going to still keep working when you're not there.
No, because at the end of the day, she's still working because you're paying her 50,000 baht a month to stay with you. So it's a long-term arrangement, isn't it?
Yeah, you're like the goose that laid the golden egg in that case. You know, she's got one customer. It's even with my wife's family now, you know, when we go and visit them, they don't ask for money, but they do expect something.
Yeah,
you know,
sure,
it's
sure.
just normal to do that. But I think if you've got a girl in Thailand that you've just met and she's asking you for money, like, oh, I need, you know, the sick buffalo routine.
Yeah.
You probably haven't met the right person.
Sure. And where is Om right now?
She's up in the hotel room waiting for me to call her so she can come down and say hi to Peter.
Well, I have met her briefly. I have met her briefly in the lobby. She is a very nice girl. We've been kind of hanging around because the usual story. We weren't able to start recording this for a while because the pipe through music. Very nice staff. They turned it down so we could make this video. Liam, it's been an absolute pleasure and well done. I hope it continues to be successful. It's a fascinating story because most of the stories that I read out on the channel, they are crash and burn stories, just because of where these guys meet the girls, and it's very, very rare. You know, people write into me and they say, don't you have any success stories? Every week it's a crash and burn story, and here we have one today. So, I mean, where can you see the future? Just getting old together and enjoying life, I guess.
Yeah, I think so. We thought for a while to retire in Thailand, but we've decided not to do that. We're going to keep our house in Australia, and we'll probably, when I stop working, we'll probably do maybe 6 months here and 6 months there. Because Australia's still a great place to live. You know, and
you've got the best of both worlds.
And Om's got quite a lot of friends there now too. So
great.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's what we'll do. We won't permanently move here.
No, and you've got the best of both cultures. If you come into Thailand for a length of time, then you go back to Australia. Because you're lucky, you see, in Australia it's quite hot, isn't it? It's not like Thailand. That's the one country I haven't been to. One of the few countries I've never visited is Australia. I know it's a beautiful country. Is Victoria a hot area or? No,
it's more north. We do have hot summers, but winters it'll get down to, like, I think at the moment it's about 16 degrees.
Oh, that's summertime for us in the UK. Yeah, 16 degrees. Yeah. So, and what does it get up to in the summer?
Yeah, in summer it can hit 40.
Yeah, that's.
But it's not the same as here. It's very dry heat.
In Victoria. Yeah, because I think the humidity level here in Thailand is about 87%, and that's what gets you, the humidity, isn't it? When you come out the shower, you start dripping again. If you've seen when I arrived here an hour ago, I was quite wet from, you know, I couldn't find the place initially, but anyway. All right, Liam, thank you very much again. I mean, all I can say is thanks for doing this interview with me. Yeah, look, a pleasure, and I know that there are some people that will, you know, make the odd negative comment, but I'm not concerned about that because I know I'm happy, and I know that ultimately I've made the right decision, and so has my wife. We're very, very happy together, and you know, even nearly 12 years on, I still love her more than anything and more than anyone I've ever met. So it has been really worked out well. Yeah, and you shouldn't really I mean, you don't really worry. You won't let other people rule how your life is going to go just from, you know, if other people don't agree with it, you have to do what's right for you, right? Yeah, exactly. And when most people go right, I tend to turn left, you know. And one little thing I would like to say, I know very well that at the time, had I asked any of my friends, Thai friends or not, am I doing the right thing staying with this girl who was a freelancer, and every single one of them would have told me, no, leave her alone, don't go back to it. So it just goes to show you that it is possible. It's rare, but it is possible. Okay, that's it, Ian. Thank you very much once again for joining me and telling all my viewers about your story. It was very, very interesting. Whatever you're doing for the rest of the week or weekend, whenever this goes out, have a good one, and I'll catch up real soon. Thanks for watching.